Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. Thanks for joining us tonight for the workshop, Networking, 8 Reasons Why You Need to Develop This Skill Now. Today you're going to hear from Don Green. He is the Assistant Director for SUNY Orange's Office of Career and Intern Services. And you're also going to hear from Amy Stillwaggon, who is an alumna of SUNY Orange. Welcome. She's from the class of 2002. She's also the owner of Newburgh Envelope, which is a family-owned and operated printing company located right in Newburgh. I think she said it's about 4 generations, Amy?
Yeah.
4 generations. So I'm Jen DeAndrea. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations for the SUNY Orange Foundation. And I'm going to be monitoring the chat room during tonight's workshop. So if you have any questions for any of the presenters, either Don or Amy, by all means, put that question in the chat. Make sure it is set to go to everybody. If you can, try to keep your microphone on mute, just so that we can kind of keep track of your questions. And then I'm also going to put a link to a survey in the chat. If you get a chance, if you could just kind of click on that link and give us some feedback as far as how we did tonight and any things that you'd like to see us do in the future. So any workshops that you're interested in us putting together, definitely use that survey to get that information to us. And I'm going to follow up with you in the next couple of days or two with a link to this recording. So you'll have a recording to the whole workshop. So if you miss anything, if you want to share it with anybody that you know, by all means, I'll be sending that along to you. And I think that is about it. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And I'm also going to give you, obviously, in my email, Don's and Amy's email as well. So you'll be able to connect with them if you have any questions in the future and you want to reach out to either one of them. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Don.
Thank you, Jen. And I am going to share my screen so that you guys can see the PowerPoint. Give me a minute here to just get that together. Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, good enough. So before we get started, I just have to ask, is Marie Lettery one of our participants today?
I am here.
It is. That is you. Okay. Well, this is really interesting because one of my colleagues, who I had no idea might be looking for a job, is attending. So I'm wondering what's happening.
Looking for the inside scoop.
Okay. So as Jen said, my name's Donald Green. I'm the Assistant Director of Career and Internship Services. And my background and experience is in business, leadership, and corporate training. So prior to coming to SUNY Orange, I was in retail and had my own business in Middletown, Greens. And then after that, went into corporate training and consulting, and then came to SUNY Orange quite a while ago, and started off in continuing ed, and then moved over to career services. So that's my story. So what, bear with me a minute. I have to just get my clicker going here. There we go. Okay. So this to me is as good a definition as any for what networking actually is. And it's all about forming connections, of course. And why do you really want to do this? And I guess more specifically, why do you think it's of importance at this stage of your education and career? So as my co-presenter is going to tell you later, It's certainly something that's necessary in order to find success in your career. And really, to think about that, why do you go to college? I mean, more than anything else, of course, it's to prepare for a career, and it's also to enhance your ability to make money. And again, my co-presenter has a wonderful little formula that I have adopted as my mantra since we started talking a few days ago, that emphasizes why indeed it's so necessary and why you really need to have this networking going in order to find success. So to me, in my opinion, these are the 4 things that you do need to find career success. And of course, you need education and training. And of course, you need both hard skills and soft skills, hard skills being the technical or kind of the expertise in a given field, and soft skills being the communication, working as a member of a team, customer service, those kinds of things. You really need all of that. And to me, the ability to network is huge. And another thing that comes of that is, remember that nobody knows it all. No matter what stage you're at, you need to learn, and you need to learn from other people who have traveled the path. Another reason is, I don't know if you know the odds, but let's say you respond to a job posting on Indeed. Anybody want to venture a guess as to, you can put this in the chat if you have, if you have an idea. What are your odds of getting a job if you respond to a job posting on Indeed? Just take a guess, like 1 in what? And Jen, you can let me know, you share if anybody posts. Well, I can tell you. The odds, just generally in this country, for every job posting, there's usually at least 100 responses when it's Indeed or Monster or any of that. A lot of times it's a lot worse than that. Sometimes it'll be 200, 300, 400 responses. And so think about that, because you got, let's say for argument's sake, you have 100. And then they're going to look at that pile of responses and try to narrow it down to 8 or 10 so that they can have a manageable amount to deal with. And then they're only going to actually interview maybe 3 or 4. And how many do they hire? So your odds are less than 1% if you do it that way. Now, on the other hand, the way that we do it at the college, in our office, we are, among other things, very much a networking center, because we're making that connection between our students and the people we serve and the employers. So the odds of landing a job if you work in our office one-on-one are actually greater than 90%. For something like 9 out of 10 or even better of the people we work with get a job of their choice in their field within 3 months. So, admittedly, we tend to work with the best and the brightest, not by our choice, but those are the people who seek us out. But they do very well through this networking thing. And that's what we do, is network them. So job postings are often also really just a last resort for employers. They don't want to go through all those resumes and go through that whole drill if they can just get somebody referred to them. We all need this, and you need input, feedback, and direction in order to be successful in anything. And as we said, another thing that comes of this networking is another thing that you need. And you want to talk to people who can help you. And certainly Amy has something going that she may share with you as far as her network and the networking, the formal networking that she does. And there's an awful lot of mentoring going on. And finding a mentor is a game changer. So, bear with me once again. Huh. I just got my screen locked, so I'll try to unlock it. Yes, got it. Okay, so another thing that comes of this is good for your career and also good on a personal level, because you're going to develop connections even while you're in college that can last a lifetime. This is a great time to be doing this while you're still in college, because your odds for success and ongoing relationships are just off the charts. I mean, you've got your friends, you've got your classmates, you have employers, you have parents of friends, you have your professors, you have your clubs. So it's really a huge circle that you're in play with at this time. If you do this now, you have a huge competitive advantage when you graduate, because many of your classmates are just going to be getting started and you'll already be at second, third base with the whole thing, with your career. Everybody loves to help students. You know, once you graduate and you're looking for a job, it's kind of more of a highly charged situation because you want something or need something. But now it's very non-threatening. Working with students and helping them out is really something that people generally are very willing and eager to do. So it's 10 times easier now than it will be later. So anybody know what informational interviews are? This is another great technique for networking. And you can just Google this or go on YouTube or DuckDuckGo, and you'll see, they'll tell you all about informational interviews. But bottom line, the stats nationally on this are for every 12 informational interviews you do, you actually get a job offer, again, on average. My own experience around here is it's more like 1 out of every 5 or 6. So this is a great thing to be doing. So there's nothing more important in your career than this. And there's nothing that'll help you with this more than networking. Okay, so let's look at a couple of things that you can do that will enable you to be successful with this. So pretty much anything that you want to do these days, you can learn an awful lot about it on YouTube and Google and now DuckDuckGo. Anybody using DuckDuckGo? This is sort of a new dimension to, it's different than Google, but it does the same thing. But they're very into protecting privacy. So they don't store or share any of your personal information. A lot of people are moving over to DuckDuckGo versus Google for that reason. So I have a student, an alum, who wanted to learn how to be a videographer, and he did nothing but learn from YouTube. And he got so good at it that he got hired to do videos, you know, infomercials or video commercials of luxury cars. And he put one up on TikTok, and in about a week, he got 200,000 views, over 200,000 views. So there's just so much that can be done now through these mediums. Of course, you guys know all about these things. And that's, again, these days, these are tools that you're definitely going to use in your efforts to get out there and network. Amy tells me that that she was an introvert, which I find hard to believe. But in any event, she will talk to you a little bit about how to do this. But don't be afraid to make the first step. And if you are a little, let's say, apprehensive about it, you know, experiment with family and friends at the beginning and do it that way. And then you get more comfortable. And speaking of family and friends, you know, it's not a whole lot different than what you're already doing. You're spending time with those people. You're going to keep doing that, but with a little shift of focus. That's all. You're just going to kind of approach it in a different way. used to be that it was all about working the room. And of course, hopefully it'll be about that again in the not too distant future. But because of the circumstances with the virus, at this time, it's really done virtually. So it really opens up a lot of opportunities in a way, because you now can do it through emails, Zoom meetings, FaceTime, phone calls, and everybody's home. It's really easy to get a hold of people at this time. Remember that there are an awful lot of people out there, either in the present or the past, who can help you. Old friends, parents of friends, former classmates, teachers, teammates, coaches. So all these are really potent contacts when it comes to networking with your career. Of course, you do have an agenda, you have a purpose, but the more informal, the more relaxed, the better. The more you can connect on a personal level, the better. You don't really want to be pushing the business side of this. You want to be, sort of focusing on the personal side. When I talked to Amy a few days ago, and we were going to, just talk about what we were going to do today, we talked about this for maybe 15 minutes. And then we talked about other things for about 45 minutes after that. That really impressed me about Amy, because really, honestly, I don't think there's anything I can really do to help her much in her career, but yet she was such an enthusiastic networker that she grabbed, she seized the opportunity to network and exchange information. So that's a great way to go about it. Of course, you want to spread a wide net, so to speak, but that your goal is to find a few really meaningful, high yield connections. So 1 hour, like Amy and I spent, with, let's say, a viable contact is worth a whole lot more than 5 minutes each with random contacts. So you want to develop quality contacts. As we said, this is something you can have fun with. And then it's easy to incorporate it kind of painlessly and very naturally into your normal routine. Again, the lighter the atmosphere, the better. You just want to keep it light. And of course, you want to be really focused on what they're saying, not so much on what, as much on what you have to say. There's nothing that will advance things more than you providing help and solutions to their problems. So certainly be on the lookout for any opportunities like that, because that'll help you a lot. There is a topic that's sometimes particularly highly charged, let's say, and a good topic to avoid. Can anybody think of what that might be? That's not necessarily a good place to go, especially at first. So just, kind of a cautionary, probably best not to introduce that topic into the conversation unless it comes up on the other end. But this can really send things off the rails. So again, what you're looking for is high yield contacts, contacts that can really go somewhere with you, as opposed to just a whole bunch of random contacts. It's a big world out there, and one contact can lead to another. And by all means, don't hesitate to ask your contacts for leads to other contacts, because again, they'll probably be very happy to help you with that. That concludes the initial portion of our workshop today. At this point, do we have any questions before turning it over to Amy?
We don't have any questions so far, Don.
Okay, then Amy, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Don. I was hoping there was going to be one question because I was bringing up my presentation in the background. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Amy Stillwaggon. I am a graduate of SUNY Orange. When I went to SUNY Orange so many years ago, it was still called, not SUNY Orange, it was Orange County Community College. So a lot of my memories there are old and outdated. But I own Newburgh Envelope, as Jen said earlier. I'm also a director with BNI in Hudson Valley. And these are networking tips from an introvert. Many of you, some of you know me, and I may not come off as an introvert, but totally am. And we'll talk a little bit about how I have morphed from what I was to who I am. So we'll go through that. For those of you who don't know me, I have to move this. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I started my education at NFA. I graduated in 2000. I then went to SUNY Orange for a few years and transferred to SUNY New Paltz, where I completed my bachelor's. My hobbies include running, traveling, wine and spirits tasting, and volunteering. Kind of a well-rounded, I think, there. I run to run off the crazy. I think we have to do something to just get all this energy out. Travel has been kind of squashed for a while. My work history. I worked for the receiver of taxes when I was in high school. She hired me to slit open the mail. That was my entire job description, slit open the mail. By the time I left there 7 years later, I did almost everything except sign the checks. I got my real estate license while I was at SUNY Orange. I was completing my degree there and I needed 4 credits to graduate. And it was like, okay, you could take 2 gym classes and this other course, or you could take 1 course for real estate. I was like, this is easy. I'm going to take the 1 course. Thanks. I worked in retail briefly. I mean, like for a Christmas season, and that was it. 100% not for me. I spent more time figuring out ways to prank my boss than I did actually working. So that was not a good fit for me. I started as a salesperson for Newburgh Envelope in 2007 when I left the receiver of taxes. The kind of real estate market was unsettled, to say the least. And I owned a house and I still don't have a husband. So really couldn't bank on whether I was going to bring home the mortgage that month or not. But what I did find out while I was in real estate was I really like working for myself. So I started as a salesperson for Newburgh Envelope, working with my dad and my grandfather, and that was fantastic. And it led me to BNI. So I became a director after being in the chapter, maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. I got pulled up to the director team, and that has completely changed me. At the same time, I ran a nonprofit food pantry in Ulster County. That was for about 6 years. So serving the residents twice a month, maybe about 110 families right in the Highland area, twice a month. So that was really great. My motto, Don alluded to this a little bit earlier. This is my motto, my litmus test for what I like to do. If somebody says, hey, Amy, we're doing whatever. It could be going to the mall, going to the movies. It could be, hey, do you want to work on this project? Can you help me on this committee? This is my litmus test. Is it fun? Is it easy? And is it profitable? The fun aspect is my Mary Poppins theme. You know, in every element of what must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and it's not work anymore. So is it fun, or can I make it fun? The second part of that is it easy? And it doesn't necessarily mean that everything that you do is going to be easy, because sometimes we just have to eat that elephant, but you do it 1 bite at a time. You break it down, and is this task able to be broken down in easy pieces? And is it profitable? Sometimes that profit comes in money. Sometimes that profit comes in, makes me feel good. makes me feel good about myself. Sometimes it's helping others, but is it profitable to me, to my business, to my community? Can I fit this in? And if whatever that is checks off these 3 boxes, or if I can make it fit, then I do it. And if I can't, or I'm uneasy about it, I just say, thank you, but no thank you. And sometimes you have to say that. You have a lot of opportunity and a limited amount of time. So if you say yes to everything, you are going to be overrun. Oh, where did I go? Over here. Sorry about that. So 5 tips for networking from an introvert. You can use this in your personal or professional network. So I don't know about some of you. I know some of you are already in business. You have thriving businesses, but some of you may be on your search for either a job or a new career, but you can use this in your personal life as well. And you've been using it. It's something that you have done before. When you were little, your network was your family and your friends, your siblings, those people you met at school. Then you went to a junior high or a high school and you met other kids that you didn't know. Your network got a little bigger. Then you went to college, your network got a little bigger. It changes. You maybe joined a community organization. Maybe you, when I was little, I did gymnastics and I had, you go to church, or you go to the synagogue, or you go over here, whatever that is, it's all different. Like your everything, it grows, your network grows and it grows. The worst piece of advice you ever got when you were younger that limited your networking ability was when your mom said, don't talk to strangers. And we hold that and we keep that with us. And it's like, oh, they're a stranger. I don't know them, can't talk to them. Wrong. When you are networking, everybody's there for the same purpose. They all want to meet new people, expand their network, get to know, and help. Everybody wants to help one another. So you do not need to be afraid or shy or reserved when you are networking.
Amy,
yes.
I'm gonna interrupt you just for a second. We had somebody in the chat room ask what is an introvert. So rather than just kind of Googling it, I kind of wanted to maybe
Sure.
if you kind of just explain to you what your idea of an introvert is as far as how it is within you.
Sure. So an introvert to me is somebody who's maybe a little bit shyer, a little bit more of a wallflower, needs to be prompted to, I really have to have a purpose to go out and network, opposed to an extrovert, somebody who is, out there and they're a big personality and they just come out of the gate with all of this energy. Sometimes it's situational, which is totally okay. You may be in your element when you are playing a sport and you're really extroverted and you're really out there and you can just go out, do what you need to do, win the game, and you're there. But in another situation, maybe in a social situation or something else where you're not as confident, you tend to be more introverted and wait for somebody else to make the first move. So does that make sense?
I think it sounds great. Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. So 5 tips for networking from myself. And we'll go over these. Be open, prepare, follow up, rate your events, and look both ways. So first of all, be open. You can do it. I don't know if anybody has seen the movie Yes Man by, I think Jim Carrey starred in it. And it was all about him saying yes and taking the opportunity. If you find an interesting event that you want to go to, register, go do it. If you are on LinkedIn, if you are on Facebook, if you are on Eventbrite, wherever you are, you see this event, you're like, hey, that would be great. Whether it's for resume writing, whether it's for business networking, whatever it is, however it applies to you, if it's some sort of educational something, go. If it scares you a little bit, find a networking BFF. I found mine once I joined BNI. He was at the time a life insurance agent. So we were totally different. I owned a print shop. He owned a life insurance agency, but we were building our networks at the same time. We had different circles of influence, but we came together. We enjoyed going to the meetings together. He knew about my business. I knew about his business, what he was looking for. And we would go to these meetings, and I'd be off talking to somebody and say, oh, you know what? Do you know Franz? And they would say, oh yeah, I know. Or no, I have not met him. Oh, great. Let me introduce you. Now I bring that person over. And meanwhile, he's talking to somebody else and he goes, hey, do you know Amy? And they go, no, I haven't met her. Oh, and so we would work the room together. But being there and being together, we could play off of one another. And he was kind of my security, if you will. And then once I found my networking legs, I could go off on my own. He could go off on his own. But now that we're on Zoom, leverage that. That has brought the entire networking community from something so big and so challenging. Oh, I can't be everywhere. I'm in Newburgh. I could be in Dutchess County in 10 minutes. I could be in Ulster County in 10 minutes. I could be out in Middletown in 15 or 20 minutes. I could be all over, but it's taken that whole vast area and brought it down to right here in my computer. So I can be anywhere. I've been on Zoom meetings all day with a group that meets in New Windsor normally. I've been on a meeting with clients over in Dutchess County, up in the Poughkeepsie area. I didn't have to leave my living room, my kitchen. So leverage Zoom. It has taken, you would never be able to go to all these meetings in the same day normally. So if you see something, register for it and go. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But while you're there, adopt and improve on skills and habits from other successful networkers. So if you're seeing something happen during a meeting or even after a meeting, your interactions with people as you're networking, go, hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. Then make a note of it and adopt that into your habits for when you are networking. You'll find them as you go. Prepare. So research the event. My history obviously is ingrained in in-person meetings. So researching the event when we were meeting in person was calling the organizer, seeing if I could get a list of the attendees, looking back on other events and talking to people who have attended that event in the past. How was it? What did you get from it? What kind of people go there? Because you want to be hanging out when you're networking. You want to be hanging out where your target market is hanging out, right? So if I'm looking to network with realtors, I want to hang out where the realtors hang out. So if that was what I was looking to build, if that was a niche I was looking to get into or to expand upon, that's where I want to spend my time. But now you can just go online. You can go on Eventbrite, go on Facebook. You can click through and see who's attending what events. And decide if that's somewhere you want to spend your time. Give yourself a goal. Make it a goal to make 3 solid connections during the meeting. Don't make it a goal to meet everyone. If you're in person, the goal is not to make sure everybody has your business card before you leave. The goal is 3 solid connections, depending on the size of the event, right? You have the ability to drive the conversation. So prepare 2 or 3 questions to ask, but go with your answer already formulated. So if you're going to go and you go to the networking event, you're going around the room, now you have Zoom, and so there's breakout sessions. If you're not given a question to drive the conversation, you can always start off with one of your prepared questions. And if you're prepared with it and you know how you're going to answer it, when you ask it, the other person who's probably not prepared will say, that's a great question. And after they answer it for you, they're going to go, and what about you? How does that apply to you? And you go, oh, well, let me tell you. And you have your prepared answer. The question that you ask is probably something that you're going to want the other people in the room to know anyway. So what new products or services are you offering now since we're all working remotely? Well, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. That they tell you whatever they're doing. And they'll say, oh, and what about you? And you say, well, you know, at Newberg Envelope, we're offering this virtual entrepreneur program where it's a virtual address service, and it you know, protects your home address from the internet so that people aren't just knocking at your door, right? So, wow, that was so prepared. Yeah, thank you, right? If you are prepared with those questions, they'll answer them and then they'll ask them back to you. Be interested in the other people that you're talking to. When you ask a question, actually listen to the answer. Don't just listen for them to stop talking. When you are interested in the other person and genuinely listening to what they have to say, asking them questions about what they're doing, they will find you interesting, and then they will want to talk to you more. So be interested in who you are speaking with and give them your full attention. And then bring your smile. When I first started networking, this was an acronym that I used to kind of remember everything that I needed to before I left the office to go to, whether it was a chamber event or a BNI networking event or whatever. Literally, the first thing is smile. If you are not feeling the event, it's totally okay. If you are not in the zone, it's totally okay. However, they say fake it till you make it. And that really came from Dale Carnegie. And he said, if you act enthusiastic, you will be enthusiastic. So act enthusiastic, friends. Smile, and other people are going to want to come over and talk to you. Or at least know, like, why is she so happy, you know? So it's even harder via Zoom for people to feel your excitement and your enthusiasm. You almost have to dial it up a little bit. If you want to come through as like a 7, 8 on the excited scale, you almost have to dial it up to like an 11, because, you know, the camera adds 10 pounds for TV, but Zoom takes away like 3 points of your excitement. So smile, be excited. Make sure your audio is working, your microphone, your camera, you're not getting feedback. There isn't, you know, like an echo or anything like that. Before you guys were let into the room, Jen, Don, and I were on here. Hey, can you hear me? Hey, do you have the ability to share your screen? All that kind of stuff. So just make sure that your technology is working. When you're in person, that M stands for mints. We are very close when you stand in person. Mints are a definite yes if you are networking in person. Your image, even though we're on Zoom, you may have pajama pants on below the camera, but above the camera, look put together, look your part. Especially if you are talking to or applying for or networking with someone in a white collar profession. If you are in the financial industry, if you're a CPA, if you are, you know, anything to do with banking or money or something like that, attorney, you really should be looking the part. I expect my mechanic to have like a polo shirt on or like a Dickie shirt button down. It's probably gonna have his name on it. That's totally cool. You're my mechanic. But I do not expect to see my CPA in a Carhartt sweatshirt with the gray sweatpants on. So just look the part for who you are networking with. Listen for all of the chips. Listen. This goes back to be interested. Actually listen to what the other people you are networking with are saying. Because when you can absorb just a little bit of that and feed it back to them later, it's going to really impress them. Not many people listen. I don't know why that is. And engage in the chat. Get, in the chat and talk to people. Not talk to people so much that you aren't listening to the presenter or the other people, but engage in the chat. Leave your information in the chat. Tell them how to connect with you. If you have a appointment booking link, put that in the chat. Make it really easy for others to connect with you. So that's with Zoom. Keeping going. Okay. So follow up. Do what others don't. I can't tell you how many people while networking do not take the time to follow up. They go to the event, they hand out their business cards, in like such a flurry of like, okay, that's a great customer for me because you probably go through business cards like no man's business. But how effective is that? If somebody just jams their business card into my hand without actually having a conversation with me, what do I do with it? Who are you? Why do I want to connect with you? So follow up with that person with the 3 solid connections you want to make. Not many people do it. You're going to refresh the conversation that you had. This is why it was so important to listen. You're going to add some sort of value. Whoever you were talking with, like Don mentioned earlier, we chatted about this presentation for maybe about 15 minutes, but try to add value and build a relationship with the other person beyond just getting to know you at this event. And ask permission before you just stalk them on all their social medias. The worst thing you can do is be in a Zoom meeting or in a networking event with somebody, and then the next day you have a Facebook request, an Instagram request, they're following you on TikTok, you want to connect on LinkedIn, all of this. You went to all my social medias and just ask them, would it be okay if we connected on LinkedIn? And they'll say, oh yes. And that way, when they get the invite from you, they're going to be expecting it. And it's welcomed and warm. Rate your events. That's not weird at all. Sounds weird, but it's not weird. Create a ranking system, especially if you are new to networking. Even if you're not new to networking and you've been doing it for years, create a ranking system. Did I meet my target market? Did I meet networking partners who can send me business or that I can send to business? Are they going to supplement my business in some way? Was it worth my time? Was it worth the cost of the event if there was a fee? What are the frequency of the meetings? Is it just once a month? Is it every week? Was it well organized? Can't tell you how many networking events I went to because my target market was there, yay, but it was poorly organized. You go to the meeting and you're not sure if you're going to get the chance to speak or not. You're not sure what the agenda is, if there is one, if it's just, kind of a free-for-all. What could I have done to improve the outcome? If you are at the event and afterwards you're kind of going through in your mind, you're going through this checklist and you're saying, I don't know, that really wasn't the best use of my time today. Kind of upset that I stayed that long. Or, there's no reason why you have to be in whatever meeting for longer than is comfortable for you. If you don't find that you're getting the value, excuse yourself. But what could I have done to improve the outcome? Could I have excused myself? Could I have skipped this meeting? Could I have done a little bit more research on who is going to be here and if I really wanted to attend this particular session? Does this event deserve a second look? If you're not quite sure, but yeah, I'd give it a second try. Cool, that's okay. If it's not for me, or maybe in a couple of months, or maybe if the topic is different, then yes. But you either win or learn in networking. There is no lose. I really believe that. You either win and it's a great place to be, or you learn and you go, no, that's a red flag for me and I'm going to be able to notice it in the future. like I said before, events are plentiful, but your time is limited. So it's okay. I really encourage you to say yes to everything. Go to the events at least once, figure out where you want to spend your time, but it's okay once you know, like, that's not where I want to spend my time. It's okay to say no. Thank you. Thank you, but I have other plans. Thank you, but maybe not this time. Networking should stretch you. It should only be slightly uncomfortable for you. If you get into a room and you are having like complete panic attacks, maybe like find a networking BFF and go with somebody. Maybe you're not quite ready yet. But it should stretch you just a little bit. Consistency is key when you are networking. Don talked about it a little bit when he talked about career success for networking, but there's also networking success. You have to be consistent. It is about relationship building. You want these people to use your product or service or refer your product or service to their friends, family, acquaintances, customers, clients, right? So you have to go consistently. So set a goal for one repeating event per month. Maybe it's a chamber event or, a Rotary, a community organization is perfect. Maybe remember Rotary or Kiwanis or the Optimists or whatever. And then one new event per month. And then you can increase from there. But consistency is key. They have to get to know you, like you, and trust you before they're going to refer you. And it is really all about who you know in the room. So once you know people, then the referrals will come after that. And then I really want to encourage you to look both ways. Keep networking up. So if you are the most experienced person in the room, if you are the most networked person in the room, if you're that person, find something or someone who can mentor you up. Pam and I were discussing this in the chat. We didn't get the chance to go around the room yet and talk about it, but Pam is in direct sales and so is my sister. And it's very important when, especially you're in direct sales and you have a team, you have to coach your team, but you also have to find that coaching so you become a better coach. So you have to network up. I don't just oversee my chapters of BNI. I have people who are coaching me to be a better networker. So I always make sure that when I go to our national conferences that I am definitely not the most experienced person in the room. But on the other hand, you have to reach back and encourage someone else. You have to take what you have learned and go back and say, okay, who can I help bring to where I am? And in BNI, we call that giver's gain. So you're always looking to help someone else and bring them to where you are, and then you can move forward. So look both ways. And then repeat. Networking is like a plant. You have to water it. You have to make sure it gets sunlight. You have to prune it. You have to repot it. You have to do all of that. And then it will be something beautiful and fun and exciting, and it will be easy. So it's not something you just do once and then you're done. Oh, I went to a chamber event, I'm done. It doesn't work like that. You need different things in your business career at different times, whether you're looking for referrals or you're looking for a mentor. And sometimes a mentor only can bring you so far, and then you have to find a new mentor. So you have to be continually networking. So this is a slide just with my information on it. So you can take a screenshot, or Jen will put it in the comments or the chat box, but you can email me, you can, send me hate mail, or you can call or text me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all the things, all the socials. And it is okay to connect with me. So happy to connect with anybody who I'm not already connected with.
Thanks so much, Amy. That was great. We have about 8 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions that they'd like to kind of put in that chat, you can go ahead and I will present those to either Don or Amy. Don, I don't know if you had any. Oh, wait, here we got one. How do you find events to attend in your field? I know Amy had mentioned Facebook, LinkedIn, but what's the best way to go about finding those events?
So I think Amanda asked that question. Amanda, I would suggest I set up notifications. So you can set up notifications in LinkedIn, in Eventbrite, Facebook, and I would also, I like to be in places where my target market is. So are you looking, can you unmute yourself? Are you looking for networking events to find referrals for business or referrals for a job or a mentor? What are you looking?
I mean, I was just wondering, like, just in case, I mean, I haven't started my field yet, but I was just curious for when I do, but I would also like a mentor right now as well. Somebody I can connect with within the field I want to go in. So,
Which is what?
I'm looking to go into the music industry after this degree.
Okay.
So.
All right. Awesome. So yeah, I would definitely say Eventbrite or Facebook. A lot of events are still posted on Facebook. Many have moved over to Eventbrite because the ticketing aspect is just so easy, especially with, you know, us being on Zoom. But absolutely. And you can set up notifications. You can go to Google and set up Google notifications for when things are posted. So even if you don't have to look on a specific app.
Right. Okay.
I am also going to add to that SUNY Orange Alumni Relations is a great way to network. So I did put my email in the comments as well. I put Don's as well. Between myself, Alumni Relations, and the Career Services, we have a number of people to connect with. Like Don said, it's just reaching out to one person, another person who knows another person, and we can make it happen. So Alumni Relations, to anybody, if you're looking to connect, to find mentors, by all means, please reach out and I will do my best to connect you with somebody that would be very valuable for you.
And that warm introduction is
Amanda.
always going to be invaluable. So if there's somebody, I love to use LinkedIn in that way, in kind of the same way you use alumni relations. You know, you go to LinkedIn, you look for who you're looking to connect with, and it'll tell you who's between you and them so you can reach out.
Amanda, are you a SUNY Orange student?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be happy to help you.
Thank you. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
I can jump in with a plug if you guys don't mind. My name is Marie. I work at the admissions office, but I've actually attended a couple of events with an organization called Hudson Valley Young Professionals. And they're geared specifically towards younger professionals in the area, but they do some cool events. We did something at a Renegades game once. They've done something at Billy Joe's, but something like that was really cool. I went by myself. I broke one of Amy's rules. I stopped going. So it's something that, you know, I should probably be a little bit more consistent with, but things like that are cool because it's all sorts of different professions that were there. I know they have a group on Facebook, and I think they've been trying to do some virtual programming as well.
I'm familiar with that organization as well, and also had some of my students had success with them also. And I want you guys to know something you probably don't know. Well, I'm sure you don't know. Marie is a very accomplished athlete. You want to share that, Marie?
Sure. So I guess that's a pretty good example. Don and I kind of network on the side, chat about what's going on. But yeah, so I do obstacle course racing on the side too. Something fun, just kind of, you know, meet different people. And I've learned a lot through it, just chatting with people at an obstacle where we're both struggling, and found a whole bunch of books to read and, you know, different things to get involved with. So even in the kind of most casual of places, opportunities have popped up.
So I'm just going to kind of chime in right now because we only have a few more minutes left until the hour is up. So Don, Amy, if you had any last kind of suggestions, I do want to thank you both for participating and thank you for everybody for being here. But if you had anything last to say.
Well, I have to say that, as I said, Amy's little guidepost there has become my mantra. I think it's awesome. And it's so simple, but it's so profound. And, you know, so often we'll kind of embrace one or two of those three things and then leave one of them out, which is kind of a recipe for failure and not enjoying it. So I think that's great advice, Amy. I just thought that was awesome.
It's a recipe for burnout. That's what it is. Because if you are not finding that something is, if it's fun and easy, but it's not profitable, you're not going to, you know,
Can't
you're gonna
sustain
say,
it.
yeah, I could have spent my, you're going to could have yourself to death, you know? But if it's easy and profitable, but it's not fun, you're gonna say, well, that really wasn't worth the money. I should have charged more for that, right? So
It's very similar to a guidepost that we use in career services, which is, you know, of course, people will ask us, well, how do I decide what I want to do? And to us, it's got to have three things, just like what you said. It's got to be something that you enjoy. It's got to be something that you're good at. And it's got to be something that can give you some good bucks, some good income.
So my final thoughts would just be, just know that everybody who you are networking with wants to help you. They are there to help you. And they're all there for the same reason, to make connections. So it doesn't really matter. You may think, well, I'm not going to go networking. I really don't have a network locally. You know, I'm just a student, you know. But you could be networking with someone, you have friends, you have family, they have needs, and you really don't know who you know. You know more people than you think you know. And everybody starts out with the same group of people: mom and dad, siblings, cousins, you know, high school, you know, classmates and stuff like that. Your boyfriend or girlfriend and their family. You start out small, and then you really do know more people than you think you do. So yeah, don't be afraid. Don't let it scare you. Don't let it scare you into staying home.
Great, wonderful. So we're going to end it there. Again, thanks so much to everybody for logging on tonight. Stay warm, stay dry tonight in this snowstorm. And thanks again to Amy and Don for presenting to us tonight. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye.